Hey guys, today we are going to make Nigeria pop-off. This recipe is actually very sweet. It's a sweet pop-off recipe. So let's start making it. First of all, I'm going to start by proving my yeast. I'm going to have half cup of warm water, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of yeast. It can be instant, it can be active. This is how I normally prove my yeast if you are trying to make pop-off. You can also decide to add your yeast directly into your dry ingredients. So these are my dry ingredients. I'll be using 2 cups of flour, that's a plain flour, and quarter teaspoon of salt, half cup of sugar. Let it switch your preferences. Then I'm going to go ahead and add quarter teaspoon of nutmeg just to give it extra flavor. It's not really compulsory. You can add any flavor of your choice. It can be cinnamon, it can be any flavor if you like adding to your pop-off. Sounds good. So I'm going to combine all my dry ingredients together so everything be well cooperated. Take a note, while making pop-off, you have to get your ingredients right. After 3 minutes, this is the outcome of our proof yeast. So I'm going to go ahead and add my proof yeast into my dry ingredients. Then I'll combine. At this point, it will not be very watery. It will not be very. It will still be very thick. So I'm going to go ahead and add another half cup of warm water into my ingredients. Then combine. If your flour is actually too thick, like your paste is actually too thick, you can go ahead and add extra water. At this point, I normally add 2 teaspoons of water into my ingredients so everything will. I don't like my pawpaw very thick. I like it very fluffy in when I'm eating my pawpaw. So I'm going to give you a lot of tip of making a perfect sweet pawpaw recipe you are going to enjoy, and your family is going to enjoy these snacks. This is a common snacks that you can find in the streets of Africa. Many Africa have their own recipe on, and also have their own name of making their own pawpaw. But as I said, I'm in Nigeria. So this, I'm going to add extra 2 teaspoons of water. It's 2 teaspoons of water, is no more than that. So I'm going to combine it until everything look not so watery, but as I said, everybody like their pop differently. I don't like mine too hard. I like mine very fluffy. So to get a perfect proof pop paste, so I'm going to cover this for 30 to an hour. It can be 30 minutes. It all depends on the temperature of where you're putting it, so it will get proof. Go ahead and cover it with a clean kitchen towel and leave this in a warm place for 30 to an hour. So after 45 minutes, this is the outcome. It has risen twice the size, so you can see there are lots of air trapped into the ingredients. So I'm going to release it. You can see it's not watery, it's perfect the way I like my pop-off to come. So I'm going to show you how to scoop it. Heat your oil for frying. In an hot oil, scoop your pop-off, and please do not overcrowd your pot or your pan while you are frying your pop-off. There are a lot of reasons that your pop-off will not come out the way you want. If your pop-off mix is too watery, as I said, everybody has their own taste of their own pop-off. I like my pop-off very fluffy, not too hard when I'm eating it, and I like it very sweet. So this recipe is very easy. If you have any question about your pop-off when you are making it, please leave it in the comment section. I'm always here to help and explain how to get a perfect homemade pop-off recipe. And remember to fry your pop-off in a medium heat. Do not overheat it, and be patient for it to be cooked in all sides of your pop-off. Pop-off is a similar recipe to a buns in Nigeria buns, but this actually pop-off is a little bit different from buns. There are a lot of reasons for your pop-off to not come out the way you want. A lot of reasons. Some, if your mix is very watery, if you add too many water to your pop-off, it might come too watery and it will soak in oil and it will not come out perfect the way pop-off needs to look like. I'm going to go ahead and flip my pop-off until everything is fully cooked, both in the outside and the inside. Puff is very fluffy and is actually very sweet. It's a common snack that you can find in Africa. Many African countries has their own recipe of puff and it's a very similar recipe that you can find and put together to get a perfect snacks for your family. For a friendly and delicious family recipe that you want to enjoy, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first person to know every time I upload new video. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get updated of my new videos. And please do not forget to hit a like button on this video. If you have question about this pop-up recipe, please drop it in the comment section. I'm always open to answer to your questions about my recipes. And I make a simple and delicious snacks for my family. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. So this is our pop-off. It's not fully ready. You can allow it to be much golden color. It all depends on how you like your pop-off. Some like it a little bit darker, while some like it somehow light, not too darker. It all depends on how you like it. You can still leave it in the oil for a longer time so you to be a little bit darker. But I don't really like it when it's too dark. I feel it's too burnt. So that is for me. So that's why everybody's preference is different when you are making your pop-off. So my pop-off is ready. This is I like my, I don't like it too brown, I don't like it too light, but it's fully ready, it's fully cooked. But if you want it to be fully brown, feel free to fry it more in the oil. So this is the outcome after removing it from the oil. Please let me know what you think about this pop-off recipe in the comment section. If you have questions, please feel free to drop it. Hope to see you again. Stay safe.